Good morning, everyone. So I'm out for a trail run and training, and it's just a beautiful spring morning, absolutely gorgeous, and got me thinking about a lesson that has to do with personal life, family life, friends, all that we have going, and and also from a business and a sales perspective. I'm just on this trail right now, and I was thinking about it as I'm going up the trail. You'll see there's lots of rocks. There's like a big root in the middle there. It's springtime, and so depending on where we're at with the trail, there's a lot of wash. The trail gets washed out a little bit, of course, because there's a lot of water runoff. There's my mountain in the background. There's Cascade, beautiful, and so you have to really be focused while you're on this trail, really, really focused on a trail in general. It's one of the reasons why I like trail running, frankly, versus running on pavement. I'll run on pavement, sure, for training runs and so forth, but I prefer trails, and for good reason. I just love it. It's so peaceful out here, quiet, peaceful. I love it. I oftentimes see wildlife as well. So let me tell you about this principle that I want to talk about, and it is becoming present, becoming in the moment, being focused and in the moment. It's very easy in this world that we live in to become very distracted. We wake up first thing in the morning, we turn on our phone, we watch our social media, we look at our emails and our texts, and we immediately will watch the news. Most people will watch the news before the day. They kind of follow it throughout the day, and then they close the day with it. And it's a constant, and we're always looking at our phone. Look at the amount of usage that you use on your phone. Everyone should take inventory of that on a regular basis. It's staggering, and it's staggering even the younger people are too. But even at our, adults are using their phones an enormous amount. It means that there's a lot of clutter, a lot going on, and becomes increasingly more important. It's always been important, and I'll share a few quotes that show that. It's always been important, but it's more important today. And again, I'll talk about it from a personal perspective, family, friends, our own tribe perspective, and business and sales perspective. Number one, personal perspective. Something happens when we can quiet our mind. There's a spiritual element to it. There's a healing element to it. There's a growth perspective that comes from it. Rumi, the Sufi philosopher, says, silence is God's language. Everything else is a poor translation. I like that. In the Old Testament, actually, there's a statement that says, "Be still and know that I am God." There's something about quieting the mind and being still. Now, also, if Albert Einstein, let's take a more scientific, a more recent example. Albert Einstein says something like, I'm going to paraphrase it, but I think 99% of the time, and I come up with nothing. I stop, I swim in silence, and truth comes to me. That's Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientific minds of all time. And so there's something about quieting the mind. Thomas Edison, in fact, many people don't know this, but Thomas Edison a lot of his ideas came from when he would quiet his mind. He held two balls, metal balls in his hands. And as soon as he could kind of get into this flow state, I guess we can call it, quiet flow state, boom, he would almost fall asleep, the balls would drop, and he had a pad of paper in front of him and a pen, and he would immediately start writing ideas. Something happens, and he's considered one of the greatest inventors of all time. Something happens when we can quiet our mind. So personally, find times every day to be able to quiet your mind and watch the healing and personal development take place. There's something about it. Even if you can quiet for 5 minutes, and I'll give you one tip on that. Be grateful. Express gratitude. Find a way each day to quiet your mind for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes if you can, even 10 minutes. Boy, if you can pull that off, and just be grateful. List all the things you're grateful for. Powerful. Number two, let's talk about it from a family perspective, from a tribe perspective, your friends and family. These devices that we have are incredible. I love the technology and what it can bring to us. But again, it could cause us to become very distracted. And when we're with family, loved ones, friends, we need to learn to put it down. I was on a date with my daughter once. It was a couple years ago, and she's just a sweet little girl. And I was on my phone, like many of us do. We were on a little date night. And at one point, she grabbed my phone, put it down. She said, "Daddy, I'm here." That was a good example to me. And I realized I'm still not perfect at this. I tend to reach for my phone as I get a buzz or whatever, from a text or something. But I try to be more conscious to put the phone down when I'm with someone, especially someone whom I love and I care for, like when I'm on date night with my wife. I try to be able to take the time to just put my phone down and become present and become in the moment. And by doing this, then we hear more, we observe more. And even like out on a trail like this, while I'm just stopping and being present for a moment, just here. And I love it. And watch what happens in your relationships, our relationships, when we can be present and in the moment. Number 3, let's talk about it from a business perspective, from a sales perspective. You're in a business meeting, some of the most obnoxious meetings, and I've fallen prey to this. I'm sure many of you have too. Everyone's on their phone, like bing, 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 bing. And here we are trying to accomplish something, whether you're in an operations meeting, a finance meeting, a manufacturing meeting, whatever it might be, customer service. Be present, be in the moment. Put those phones down. Focus on who you're talking to. And sales, this is even more important. Because when you're with a client, you should be with that client. You shouldn't be out there or over back there. You need to be with that client. Make sure that they know that they're so important that you can give them their attention right here, right now. And then listen. Especially if it's a sales client, listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's that saying, It should give us an idea. We should be listening more than we're speaking, listening more than we're watching on our phone for whatever. If we're with that client, don't be focused on another client. If you're with a sales call, don't be focused on the sales call that just happened or the one that's coming in 2 hours. Be focused on that one. Give them their attention, listen, and help move that client towards a sale. Be focused. Again, there's a power and focus in being present in the moment from a business and a sales perspective that are so very important. Now, on a side note, on a closing note, let's talk about becoming present and going back to that personal thing. And Edgar Tolle talks. He's got a book called The Power of Now. It's amazing. The whole thing's about now, being in the present moment now. He talks about oftentimes we live in the past because the past. It's there. It's the past. You can't do anything about it anymore. And yet oftentimes we live there. We rehash things over and over and over, thinking somehow that we can change it, but we can't. And that causes a feeling of despair almost, because we get caught in this loop and yet you can't change anything. Nothing can be changed. And oftentimes we live too much in the future and it causes an anxiety about things. Really, true happiness is found in that present moment. And he talks about in his book, The Power of Now, how oftentimes people will do endurance events like this or climb mountains. There's Mount Timp in the background there, gorgeous. But they'll go climb mountains because it helps to force a person in the moment. And if you notice right now, there's a big trend going into meditation, going into yoga. May I propose something that a lot of people are being drawn to this because we are so busy in our minds. Everything is so busy. We are so cluttered with all that's going on that we find this peace and solace that comes from going to a yoga session, or going to a yoga session mixed with a meditation session, or go to a meditation, just a strict meditation session. There's a reason for that. Be still and know that I am God. Like Albert Einstein says, I think 99% of the time and nothing comes, and then I swim in silence and truth starts coming to me. Be still. There's healing that takes place. Be still. It's going to help us with our relationships, personal relationships. And be still. It's going and be present and in the moment. and you will find your business relationships, your sales will increase and improve. Once again, thanks for joining today, and I wish you an amazing day. I'm going to go continue my run. Thanks.